When you're sick, every minute counts. So don't go anywhere. Go to dispatchhealth.com where high-quality medical care comes directly to you. No getting out of a sick bed. No crazy driving to an emergency room. No endless paperwork. No hospital waiting rooms. Visit dispatchhealth.com to learn about our medical professionals, then make house calls. Dispatch Health is covered by Medicare and most major insurance. Go to dispatchhealth.com.
Good evening, everybody. I'm KCReginaldJr.
It's your man, JW, Justin Waters in the building.
Welcome to underDawgSportz, where today there's going to be some changes. Again, welcome to the show, everybody. I'm KCReginaldJr. here with my co-host, Mr. Justin J. Waters. As I said, as we open the show, we're going to change things up a little bit, have a little more conversation, but we are going to try to stick to our time. And I am kind of running a live chat if for anyone that is out there listening. Other than that, let's really dig right into it. We had a topic to start the show off about the Chargers potentially to London, but their owner has completely shut that down. But we could talk about their market anyway.
I'll be honest with you. What would be the point of moving all the way to London where it's a different time? Look, let's be honest. Europe in general, football is not football. Football is soccer, and we're going to call it American football. Yes, I think that they like it because it's a once in every blue moon sport. It's an event, but as far as it being there on a regular basis, I just don't see it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't see it, and I don't think it's worth it.
I kind of disagree with that because the market's there. The NFL, the market is there. If they're already doing, 4 games a year?
That's because of Khan.
Right, but if you have a team
Khan has a huge relationship.
Yeah, but if you have a team there and you build a fan base for that team, I think there is a market because there's no other sport in the UK like American football. I mean rugby, but no forward passing.
Here's the thing. Remember, there's one huge reason why I wouldn't go for it is NFL Europe. They didn't do too well. Remember, it closed after, I think the NFL Europe lasted maybe 4 years, maybe less than that. I remember I got a call up from a couple of people I knew that was going over there. And, it was supposed to be this big thing going on, especially during the off season. Never panned out. So that's why I'm saying the European market, specifically to have just one team out there to have to travel back and forth to the States, I just don't see a real good purpose for it. If they have multiple teams over there in Europe, maybe, but not just for one team. I don't think it's worth it at all. San Diego could move somewhere else and probably have a bigger market. They could have stayed in San Diego. Excuse me, I keep calling them San Diego. But they could have stayed in San Diego, probably had it. Yeah. In fact, if I'm going for it, move to San Antonio. Keep the sand. Just go to San Antonio. Those people right there, those are diehard fans. They will go to a game.
But, I mean, San Antonio is a small market, and in addition, there's already 3 football teams in Houston. I mean, in Texas, right? Or just 2? I mean, I guess you could go a little further, but I don't see San Antonio being that market. If they were going to be that market, they would have been a real option for the Raiders.
The Raiders wanted Vegas the whole time. I never seen them going anywhere but Vegas. And if not, they were either going back to LA or stay in Oakland or go to Vegas.
But I don't believe they should be in St. Louis because it's enough football surrounding. I mean, between the Chiefs and the Bears right there, there's enough football within 3 hours of that place that they don't need another team. I don't know why they went back to that market. But it's to be seen. The owner is saying that he is adamant about staying in Los Angeles and trying to make it work. But they're like a second-rate team. The Rams own that market.
They won't get the fan base in LA, no, regardless. This is like the Clippers and the Lakers until recently. So until they start winning and surprising a lot of teams, they're not. They're always going to be the third best football in LA, because right now it's the Rams, USC, then them. It ain't gonna work. They should go back to San Diego.
I mean, San Diego don't want them back after, and they're not going to give them a stadium. But that was an interesting segue as we're going over to the NBA, as you were mentioning the Clippers and the Lakers being little brother, big brother. Speaking of little brother, big brother, the Houston Rockets and Harden Westbrook. I think we're going to have to cover this until we actually see these two gelling and this team looking like what it was created to be. Because right now they're struggling in every game.
I read a stat that actually on the floor together, Harden and Westbrook are minus 26.
Jeez.
Remember, I told you, when we talked about this before, you was the one gun-ho saying this is going to work. And I said, there's two ball-dominant guys. One of them is going to struggle. Now, I'm actually surprised the one that's struggling is Harden and not Russ.
Because the jump shots.
Well, because
he's a jump shooter. Russ is an attacker. Russ is going to get to the rim. Jump shooters.
Well, the thing
cold.
is I figured because he was ready for his team. This is, Russ clearly said, hey, this is James's team. I'm just going along doing what I got to do. And Russ's stats aren't honestly really down as much. He's still averaging 21, 9.8, 9.2, which is still shocking. I figured something would have dropped. But he's also the Rockets' lead. Actually, he's the leading rebounder right now. He actually is now tied with Capella, which is very interesting on that. We'll talk about that before.
Yeah, we'll talk about Capella again. But in regards to that whole, and I was kind of thinking this today, and I really didn't want to go there because I know the reaction that I'm going to get. I think they need to ask the question, why is this Harden's team? Because, again, like I said, jump shooters go cold. One thing that never gets cold is driving to the rim and attacking. Russ has proven that everywhere he's been. If he can leave the jump shot alone and just attack like he does when Harden can't make a jump shot, then to me, that explosive player is who should be the anchor of a team. Because, again, like I said, jump shooters go cold.
What's the identity of the Rockets is the question. Because realistically speaking, this is starting to be a definitive whose team is it. Even though Russ is not complaining, Russ is not challenging anybody, but the identity of the team is still up in question. Again, is this a ISO team or is this going to run the ball speed? Only thing we know is D'Antoni likes speed, so that's it. That's why Carmelo's not still a Rocket. But other than that, they really don't have a strong identity.
And who's the speed on the Rockets?
Westbrook, of course.
There you
He's
go.
Probably one of the fastest players or second fastest
with
player
the ball
in the league.
in his hand. Absolutely.
So
I mean, he got down the court in 3 seconds the other day.
Right. So realistically speaking, they better come with it soon, because the way some of these other teams are
gelling,
playing at a stronger level, the Rockets will be. We predicted. Well, you predicted a higher seed. I said fifth. You said second or third.
Yeah.
They may be mess around and be seventh or eighth.
Oh man, wow. I mean, we knew it was going to be an adjustment because we're putting two alpha males back together again, and one is going to have to get used to being the sidekick. Unfortunately, the sidekick is supposed to be the one that can make open threes. That ain't Russ. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. But also the alpha needs to be a better leader. Russ is a leader. He's proven that when Durant left. James is still, I don't know. Even now, he's still looking for calls.
I think we're silently in agreement that maybe this should be Russ's team. I think silently.
I agree.
We're not. I mean, we did just podcast it, but speaking of teams and whose team is it? we're going to Cleveland, and the only reason we're going to Cleveland is because they're so damn abysmal. But in addition to going to Cleveland, and we're going to take a little bit.
I'm okay with that, though. I'm okay with Cleveland being abysmal.
I know you are. Of course you are. In addition to talking about exactly how abysmal Cleveland has been, we have neglected the best team in football all season long.
And that is?
The San Francisco 49ers.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say it. We have to acknowledge it for 8 weeks now, 9 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We've neglected to even mention them.
They've gone from worst to first.
Yeah, this is incredible. I don't like John Lynch. I think he's a bigot from his playing days in Denver. But, you know, he played in Denver, so I'm biased. But what he's done with that team is amazing.
He took risks. And the biggest thing is, I will say this, though. He does have 5 first-round picks on defense and Richard Sherman. I mean,
you're the second round in D4.
And D4. I forgot about D4.
Yeah.
He has the defense. So the amazing factor, even prior to Emmanuel Sanders getting there, they were actually slinging the ball up and down that field with basically Marquise Goodwin and a bunch of other guys that I couldn't tell you who else is on the squad as far as receiver. I think Pettis and somebody else.
Yeah, and I don't really agree that they were slinging. That's why there was questions about Jimmy G going into last weekend, but dude balled and shut everybody up as soon as he got a primary receiver.
And that's it. That's all he needed. If he gets a primary receiver, I think I said this in the podcast one time. If they can get a primary receiver, they would actually be. I said serviceable. They are actually pretty dangerous.
They're the best team in football right now. I want to see them against the Saints. I want to see that game. I'm still picking the 49ers because of the defense, bro. But, dude, I want to see this team and the Saints just go blow for blow.
Well, before they get to the Saints, we do got a good matchup tomorrow, seeing them versus Seattle. And that's going to be a test.
Oh, wait. That's Seattle, Sunday, because tomorrow's the Raiders and Chargers.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Sunday. It's that. I know it's a primetime game. My apologies. But, yeah, they're going to go against Seattle, and that's going to be a game to watch. Because now you got to have – Seattle's getting more and more solid now, although – I will say this, they are not that good stacking the quarterback. I looked at the stats. Clowney has 2 sacks for the season. They're both around 1 game.
Yeah, I mean, the West in the NFC is wow. I mean, just completely wow. And, yeah, I'm like a kid in a candy store just looking at that division and hoping they all brutalize each other all season long because one of them teams is not going to make the playoffs as good as they are.
That is true, but in the case of Seattle versus this is actually my upset of the week. I think San Fran loses their first game this week against Seattle.
Yeah, because Russ is balling right now. We about to get to Russ. No, we not. We took out the MVP. Look what you did, bro.
We gotta talk. I know what I did, but we talk about it every time. We got to go here.
We got to talk about MVP. We got to talk about MVP every week until the MVP is named. Because these guys are playing well, and it would be a travesty not to talk about how good these guys are playing, including your guy.
All right, we'll talk about that. We won't emphasize on Cleveland so much. Lord.
Yeah,
I think that.
Let's real quick just say how bad Baker Mayfield has been. To me, he's an embarrassment to quarterbacks because how in the hell don't you always throw to Odell Beckham Jr. when he's one-on-one? Even Eli knew that.
Did you know the stats for Odell for last week, though, which was amazing to me? He was targeted 7 times.
That's a
5 catches.
I want to cuss right now. That is a shame, man. Like, this is – I'm biased, and there was a question posed, and I guess we can talk about that. Like I said, it's more of a conversation than a format now. There was a question posed on Twitter about these receivers that I want to get to later. Remind me because I will forget. But, yeah, Baker's a bum. His coach is – I don't know if the coach is bad or Baker's bad or Baker's bad because the coach is bad. But no, the coach doesn't decide not to throw to one of the best receivers in the game when he's one-on-one with the game on the line. That's not a coaching.
But here's the thing.
But Justin, real quick, before you do that, I want who do you throw to with the game on the line? Your number one receiver or the number 2 receiver?
But of course, it's the number 1. But you know what?
Especially
I will say this.
If the number 1 is one-on-one, right?
Correct. Always. Okay. Even last year when we had AB, and Juju went off last year, AB was still option 1, no matter what. The game's on the line, you going 84. My thing is this. I've seen it, and they were talking about it on ESPN. They brought up chemistry. And they said Baker hasn't gotten enough chemistry with Odell Beckham.
Bro,
and I sit there and say that's foolish because you don't need chemistry when your guys can get open.
With the number 1, I won't say number 1, with a top 5 receiver, if you don't have chemistry with him at week 10, then it's not him, it's you.
I will say this: if I was Odell Beckham, come off season, please trade me.
Yeah, I would have been screaming a few weeks ago, but but not screaming in public because you don't need a rep like you already got.
Right, yeah, and that's the thing. I think he's just trying to be the company guy and not do everything they expect him to do. Because pretty much, I even seen Jason Whitlock, who sometimes I can't stand.
Don't.
He sat there and called Odell Beckham AB 2.0, and I sat there and said, dude hasn't said anything. You've seen him on the sideline yelling to his teammates saying, hey, I can't get the ball to save my life. But he ain't gone to the media. He hasn't held out. He hasn't done anything. He's been the company guy. I mean, he was even the company guy after a while, even in New York.
I think the trade humbled him, though.
I do, too.
I think it humbled the hell out of him.
I still, to this day, I still don't understand that trade.
Yeah, I don't either, especially when you're drafting a quarterback. Yeah. Trades and quarterbacks, interesting. It's like we're gonna go to basically an anointment in itself. Cam Newton's on injured reserve. Kyle Allen basically said on Twitter to me, "Thanks, Cam. You've been great, but this is my team now."
Which is hilarious. Did you see Cam's response, though? Cam basically said he thanks the city of Charlotte. He's going to come back more stronger, humbler than ever. And Cam, how you wiped real weird on his Twitter and his IG.
Dude, it's so weird.
Yes, because I'm not going with the fashion. But to me, I honestly sitting there saying, I think he knows that he won't be here next year. Because in the end of the day, if they don't win and they struggle, Rivera is gone. Basically, the whole Super Bowl thing is over with. The only person they'll have left over from the Super Bowl is Keith because Olsen already said he's retiring after this year. But the other factor I'm saying is Carolina owes Cam $21 million. But if they cut him, they save
19.
It don't take a rocket scientist to see where this is going. Basically, and that Christian McCaffrey's contract is up, not next year, but the following year. So I can see it right now. They're gonna save some of that money to go ahead and probably have to pay CMC his dough. Like it or not, he's paying.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna counter argue you there because remember, Kyle Allen is an undrafted rookie or something like that, so he's making league minimum. Yes. In addition to him making league minimum, and it's been put out there exactly how I'm about to say it, Cam is basically cheap at $19 million for a quarterback on any organization. That's cheap.
I agree.
Only one cheaper is Jacoby Brissett in Indianapolis. So, not now because Gardner Minshew is on the bench, but Jacoby Brissett in Indianapolis is the only one cheaper. So the Panthers have all the leverage here because they have his rights for only $19 million, with paying this guy Kyle Allen about $500,000. So they're paying the quarterback position is going to make $19.5 period if they carry them both. So they don't have to trade Cam. They can wait until he's a free agent. Let him walk, get a compensation pick. Somebody's going to pay for Cam because they want to pay for Cam. I just don't know how good of a bet that is at this point.
I give you two teams that go for Cam right now: Chicago,
yes,
Tampa.
Yes, definitely Chicago.
And if I was, but see, the thing is, if I was Cam and they did cut me, I would go to Tampa. Reason: Bruce Arians is a quarterback genius. It's just not.
I got a wild card for you.
Go for it.
Jacksonville.
Yes, but here's the thing: with Tampa, with those two receivers, remember, that's something Cam has really never had since Steve Smith, like you said. He got two monsters. Goodwin's coming out of nowhere. He's actually fifth in the league in yards, and Mike Evans is second. You got two of the top receivers in the league in the top five. And if I was Cam, outside of the running game, which they need to figure out sooner rather than later, I'd be like, yo, and I stay in the division, so I get to play against my old team twice a year. I would do it. I'd stay with them. I like Jacksonville, but Sam's eccentricness compared to Tom Coughlin, we talked about that. Old Tom. If Old Tom's there, I wouldn't go to Jacksonville.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. There was another interesting theory thrown out there in the event that Breeze retires, or even Brady. I would lean more towards Breeze because I know what you're saying about the receiver point with Cam, but I'll counter that argument to say that you're right. Since Steve Smith, he hasn't proven that he can throw outside. That's why Greg Olson's been his number one receiver for the last 6 years, I guess.
True.
I think he needs to go somewhere with a strong tight end. I still believe in Jared Cook. I just believe Drew Brees has gotten off of the tight end. So if he retires, if the Saints win a championship, I kind of see it as the Saints being a great place for him to go.
I can see that, and because I honestly think Teddy Bridgewater is going to somehow, some way be on a 1 year high deal with the NFL team. He'll start somewhere else for 1 year, like i.e. Miami, or you know what, Teddy Bridgewater could go to the Titans because I don't see Mariota or Tannehill.
Oh yeah, that's another place he could go, but they don't have receivers either. I would refuse that outright, or tell them out front I wouldn't go there. I'm not going there.
I wouldn't say Carolina. I wouldn't say the Titans don't have receivers. But all of a sudden, Brown and Davis are now coming to play. It's Mariota that wasn't throwing it, but now since Tannehill comes, they've had two receivers. Both of their receivers have at least had 75 yards per game. So they got receivers. They drafted Corey Davis from Western Michigan a couple of years ago, first round. The boy was a baller. It's when your quarterback can't throw, and I don't know what the deal with Mariota is. I thought he was a stud, but he was more of a dud.
Wasn't that the most overrated 1 and 2 in the history of drafts?
Yeah, the only draft I can see, even though they weren't 1 and 2, that was more overrated was the Vince Young, Matt Leinart. Well, Jay Cutler did have a solid career, but those two.
Yeah, but I'm saying 1 and 2 draft picks. How frequently do the number 1 and number 2 draft picks basically be bursts?
Well, I've never seen. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe, but Mariota was never he was a system quarterback, and I think once they got out of the system for him, because he actually had a solid rookie year, it never happened. Jameis was too much of a risk taker, so that's what I always had the issue with.
Mariota isn't the athlete that he was. Okay, Mariota was an excellent athlete in college, but on this level, his athleticism is not elite enough to be a problem for NFL defenses.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. Plus, again, I think it's a system. Oregon had a tight system.
Yeah. With
Willie Taggart, who just got fired from FSU. They had a tight system that was able to work. And the pros, that ain't the system.
And these teams that are hiring these defensive coaches without requiring an offensive genius as the coordinator is absolutely mind-boggling to me, and I think that's part of what stumped the development of Mariota. Because that's what I believe.
Because he's done now. If he goes to another NFL team, I can't see him starting.
Listen, I think if you put him under if Andy Reid had him now, I think he could fix him. But Andy Reid don't want him because he's got what he thinks is what he
Patrick Mahomes,
yeah.
Right.
He thinks he's going to be the GOAT at some point. That's what Andy thinks. Silently, he's not saying it and broadcasting it. But anyway, talking about GOATs, or GOAT minus, that's what I'll call him.
Here you go.
I'm not going anywhere. He's not the GOAT. Anyway.
He's not the GOAT.
Okay, so GOAT minus. I don't understand. I mean, there's the GOAT and there's GOAT minus.
He's top 5 all time.
I didn't say he wasn't. But you have this. Your headline for this is LBJ GOAT status, and I'll say GOAT minus before I ever say that. I'm just saying, Michael did not rest he did not rest until he was like 40 and just there to sell tickets for people. That's what I'm saying. But your boy is balling.
Balling out of control. He's averaging a triple-double. Now, and they only lost one game, and that was the very first game of the season. That was against the Clippers, which I didn't think they gelled well at that point. Look, I think LeBron took all the criticism that he's not the best player in the league. He don't have it. He look old. He's about to be injury prone. I mean, he is in year 17, and said, you know what, bump this. I'm about to show y'all who I am. He keeps saying #revenge season. And if he's playing like this it is. But I honestly sit there and say, I looked at it. I don't think he liked the roster that he had when he walked into those doors in L.A., and now that he pretty much de facto GM destroyed the roster.
Dude,
now
that's another reason why Mike was not the GOAT. That's another reason why he's not the GOAT, because Mike didn't get the shot for his players.
That's true. He did not get the shot for his players. That's totally true. I always sit there and say, the reason why Cleveland won with LeBron the second go-round is because LeBron got a chance to choose. And I'd be the first one to tell you, LeBron learned from the first time he was in Cleveland when he didn't get the players that he requested, but he didn't do nothing about it. I think this time it's like, nah, bump this. If you want me, I need my guys the ones I want.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, Mike did it with what the Bulls drafted. Okay, he didn't go out saying I'm not playing or behind the scenes deal making for players. That's not what Mike did, and that's he took the hand that was dealt to him, and he made the best of it. And LeBron James has never done that. LeBron James has, I will take that back. His first year in the league, or his first year in the finals, with those Cavaliers, he took the hand that was dealt with to him and decided that I don't like it like that. I want to pick who I play with. And to me, that means you can't be a GOAT. Because the rest of those guys didn't dictate who they played with. They didn't go join super teams. They balled with what the team put together. They used the hand that they were dealt.
That's a different era.
It's a different era because of LeBron James. So, no.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
this is the Kumbaya era because of AAU and everybody are friends.
Absolutely not. Because they changed the rules. Because they changed the rules don't mean that makes them, to me, that means they're eliminated from the conversation.
As far as the GOAT status or for being all
GOAT
time?
status.
As far as the,
I mean, he's still
I never said that.
He's still one of the greatest players individually to play the game. But the way he won will never get respect from me.
He gets the respect from me, not for the Miami years, but he gets it for that Cleveland year. I give respect to him because, one, he came back to the city that pretty much dogged the hell out of him. I mean, hell, the owner said he will never win a ring before Cleveland, which was a bunch of BS because obviously they didn't even make it to the playoffs. Like
Dan Gilbert was a fool.
And
is a fool.
The thing is, I thought was funny. He could have still had LeBron, but he did two things stupid. One, he told LeBron that he's the owner of the team. He's in control. Okay, fine, which is true. And two, don't tell me how to use my money, so I'm going to go ahead and give money to the Trump campaign, which obviously you knew was going to set LeBron off. So he's like, yeah, you know what? Once the contract's up, I'm done. And Cleveland will never be the same. What are they right now? They're back in first draft pick purgatory. So, but going to LeBron, I'm just saying the way he's balling better than Giannis, and Giannis is on a high level. Harden, who's struggling right now. That guy, number 2, Kawhi Leonard, who I'm already having problems with because this load management thing is the claw who's on load management already.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, LeBron ain't done load management yet. Kawhi's already done 2 games.
That's another reason why none of these players that I got so many reasons why this era of players can't be a GOAT. It just, I wish the young kids understood. I know I sound old right now. I do, but I just wish they understood. Like, these guys play basketball every day. It wasn't complaining about back-to-backs. This guy scored 40 with the flu. Hello?
Well, that's the thing. Mike has played more 82-game seasons than Braun has.
Oh, duh.
And Kawhi has. Which is amazing because it didn't matter. Mike would have played. Nowadays, okay, we got a cake game, so we're not going to play. But the thing is the fans, he did it for the fans.
Yeah.
Mike likes playing.
Yeah.
Mike
I thought they all liked playing.
Nah, they don't do it. But now what ticks me off is now they don't even play for they don't care if it's on national TV.
They don't
won't
care
play
at all. These guys, they have taken control. I don't blame them. It's definitely a players' league, but good God, what about the people that's paying to see you? Give them something, not just you showing up in warm up, doing your own little rendition of a slam dunk contest. That's what.
Or worse.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make sense. These guys, I don't know, with all the technology, with how much better these athletes and superior these athletes are. Yeah, I don't get rest days, especially in basketball. But who the hell am I? You want to talk a little football?
Let's get back to it. I just had to say how Braun was playing. I had to go there with that, but let's get back to it.
The Texans' offense, and let's not forget about the offense. Let's talk about your guy. Let's talk about his style of play. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson, MVP candidate Deshaun Watson.
I'm glad you're finally giving him his credit due.
Oh,
well, no,
playing.
you have been giving him his credit. You have been giving him his credit.
One beef with him, and he's not even been putting himself in that position, so I can't have the beef right now.
I got to give it to him. I'm saying he's balling out, but their line is actually blocking pretty well for him. And here's the thing.
Ever since Kansas City.
D-Hop still hasn't had a lot of, I think that Madden rating may have cursed him because he hasn't had, the strong game he has. He's only had, I think, one 100-yard game, and that was game 1 of the season.
Yeah, D-Hop is a possession guy. He's a 10-yard guy now.
Which I'm not going to knock him for that, but I just think it's really interesting. Deshaun is making magic. I mean, this is kind of a new era in football where you got the two young black quarterbacks shining the way they are. Once Mahomes gets back, like I told you, this is going to be the future. This is the new rivalry.
Listen, 2, it's 4. One of them just isn't as young as he used to be, but it's 4. And they are the 4 best quarterbacks in the league right now.
And 3 of them are, and all 4 of them are African American.
Yeah, all of them are. All 4 of them. That's what I'm saying. Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, and Lamar Jackson.
Action Jackson. Now finally, give him the boy his due.
I will eat some crow.
He is a Patriot.
I will eat some crow in that this. Hold on. I will eat some crow in that this. His athletic ability transitions what defenses are capable of stopping over 60 minutes. So He's still not a top 4 quarterback, but he is a top 4 player in the NFL.
Only thing I'm saying is he's doing the most, and I think he plays with that huge chip on the shoulder because people like yourself and some of the other ESPN people basically said he's,
I'm eating my crow, but
because
I want you to kind of acknowledge what I just said, because I don't think you can disagree with me. He's not a top 4 quarterback, but he is a top 4 player in the National Football League. I give him that.
If you give him a coach, this reminds me of a couple years ago when Cap first came onto the scene, and everybody was like, "Well, Cap is an athletic guy, but he's never going to be a quarterback. He can run." And then all of a sudden, you seeing him pass with great accuracy, where he's like 63% passing, and it's like, okay, where did this come from? Same thing with Lamar Jackson. If you get him, and this goes back to what you just mentioned earlier in the last segment, if you get him, which John Harbaugh is a defensive as a defensive coach.
I got you.
But
I understand that. He's actually a special teams
If you get
guy.
him up, right. Well, yeah, you get what I'm saying. But if you get him, I'm just going to throw it out there. If Jim Harbaugh gets fired from Michigan today, John needs to call his brother to go to nurture Lamar Jackson. Because Lamar Jackson is something special, because the one thing he is, he'll learn. It's what all the 3 young quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and Russell's been there forever, but the 3 young quarterbacks all have something, is they're willing to learn and make up from their mistakes. They're not the old school quarterbacks, which I'm still going to throw it into the small window and it's going to work because I'm going to make it work. No, they're learning that, okay, this ain't my best ability. I'm going to do this. This ain't my best ability. I ain't do this. Patrick Mahomes, elite as far as throwing that thing, but I think he stepped it up his MVP year and this year, despite he got hurt, saying, okay, I know I can't run 50 yards down the field, but I can scramble, roll out. I can
he
do
is
this
elusive as hell.
It can still do that, and he didn't try to force it as much. Yeah, he still does the little trick plays and everything, but he's not trying to do it as much.
No, he really isn't.
He's
He's really calmed down. But Deshaun and the debate of what type of quarterback he is, I'll concede. I like dual threat because of his accuracy.
Right.
I don't think you can take away that he's still a running quarterback, because just because he isn't as electric as Lamar Jackson, the dude is smarter with his body. He runs as a quarterback. He really does. He runs as a quarterback, but an aggressive enough quarterback, and he's faster than most linebackers.
True. But you got to realize there's 3 styles of quarterbacks. I've seen a lot of people say game managers a quarterback when you were basically saying you can't win. So just manage the game.
I think it's more than 3 types of quarterbacks, but I want to hear your 3.
But when you're coming out of high school and coming out of the pros, coming into the pros, they basically rate you on 3 different styles. And then you can go look on Max Prep. You can look at any of them. You got pocket passer, dual threat, scrambler. Those are the 3. So basically your pocket passers, your old school quarterbacks, your Drews, your Tom Brady's, guys like that, who are basically statues with a great arm. Your scramblers right now is your Lamar Jacksons, Cat when he first came in, Vic when he first came in, probably missing a couple. And then you got your dual threat, which is the new thing in the NFL now. Technically, those are guys like Deshaun, Pat, I'm still more pocket passer with Pat Mahomes. Pat just knows how to roll out strategically, but he knows he's not going to run it.
See, that's why I don't like that 3-category thing, because there's a running quarterback. Running quarterback is a running quarterback. A scrambling quarterback.
All quarterbacks run if they have to.
No. I mean running quarterback. I mean running quarterback. Getting 10 carries, getting 10 carry a game running quarterback. Not these I'm scrambling to save my life quarterbacks. No. That's what I'm saying. Running quarterback, scrambling quarterback. When I say scramble, I don't mean scrambling to get yardage. I mean scrambling to make a play downfield with your arm. And then you have your pocket passer, and then you have your game manager. And I don't know why we're not actually talking about this, because a lot of coaches are drafting game managers and grooming them to be just that and trying to win with defense.
But here's the thing with game managers. So coming out of college, I kind of agree with you with that. But coming out of college, what coach this there was? I mean, specifically a first or second round pick.
Alex
What
Smith.
coach this there? No, Alex Smith was sent there to win games.
He was, but
he
not as a
game manager.
He couldn't throw downfield in college either. He was a game manager in college that scrambled.
Time out. If you know anything about dealing with Cal and Jeff Tedford in Oregon with Jeff Tedford, he's a system guy. Urban Meyer had the same system where Alex Smith came out of at Utah. Those are all systems. And actually, Urban said, I'm not going to use the system no more when he went to Florida, and he didn't. And actually, that's why all his quarterbacks end up basically being, Tim Tebow. Again, Alex Smith was supposed to be a launcher because when he played in college, he was a launcher. When he played for Utah, he could sling that thing. Trust me. Utah played Pitt in a bowl game, and I watched Alex Smith. In fact, Pitt was the reason why Alex Smith became a number one pick.
I was just about to say.
I watched Alex Smith go ahead and slang, and that's when we had a top. That's still the Big East. We were number 2 or 3 defense in the Big East, and I watched Alex Smith go ahead and obliterate us. Shout out to Tutu and Sante Spencer, all these guys that got drafted. They destroyed them. And that's when I was like, okay, this kid is legit. I mean, they were calling him Joe Montana. I think that was a little excessive.
I mean, but I was like, okay. Joe was a pocket passer, accurate, West Coast, mostly underneath.
But, Reg, Joe was also slow as shit. You could run faster.
No, not when he was drafted. Joe could run a little. You're talking about Joe that we saw. You're talking about the Joe that we saw. When Joe was young, Joe could move.
He could move. He could shape. He ain't running.
He could move.
We can pull up stats. I don't think Joe's had.
He wasn't a scrambler. He wasn't a running quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, right. But he's a lot like Patrick. He's scrambled to make throws downfield. But we're supposed to be talking about Deshaun and this type of quarterback he is. I kind of think
Deshaun is the ultimate right now is the dual threat.
I like Deshaun because I think Deshaun is Patrick Mahomes with more athleticism and not quite the arm.
You know what it is? Deshaun Watson is the perfect example of Russell Wilson. He's Russell Wilson with 2 more inches.
Yeah, I like that. But these guys are so good. I don't know. It's going to be funny. Like, who is behind them that's going to come and overtake them right now in the college level? Like, these guys are, and they're all black.
Wait till, because the next one up is he's not black, he's Samoan, and that's Tua. And Tua, to me, looking at him, is another Russell Wilson. Now, between him and Jalen Hurts, who's now at Oklahoma, now Jalen is more Lamar Jackson-ish without the shake and bake. So we got to see how that's going to work out. And plus, Oklahoma just goes ahead and breeds Heisman Trophy winner quarterbacks right now, the way their offense is set. So I wouldn't be surprised if this kid could possibly still win it.
I think, you know what I think? I think these coaches, these general managers, are tired of the pocket passing quarterback being a bust in the first round. And they're saying the hell with it. These running quarterbacks, these scrambling quarterbacks, these athletic quarterbacks, that's their word for black quarterbacks, these athletic quarterbacks, we can win games with them, and we can win games with them pretty convincingly.
But also keep in mind is this, too. When you have, this is now a new era, when you got guys that are 285 pounds, hell, I'm 260 and I can't run a 4.2. But you got guys at 280 pounds running a 4.2 or 4.3. Linebackers running a 4.2
because Tyreek runs 4.2.
Well, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
These guys are 10 times faster than what they were back in the days. So to be fast, you better get fast, or your guy is going to be sitting there holding a chalkboard in a lot of pain for a long time in their career. And you'll be paying them a lot of money for no reason.
Honestly, the era of the pocket passer, I think, is over.
Once Tom and Drew retire, I think that's it.
Yeah, I
think everybody got to have some mobility.
I think it's done, and the guys that are still pocket passers right now, that happen to be still under contract, Joe Flacco.
That won't last for long. They put him on IR purposely. Yeah. They knew they were getting rid of him.
I mean, I'm just saying. They're going to be dinosaurs, and I mean quick. You've got to be athletic to play that position, and Deshaun Watson is it. Behind Russell Wilson right now, it's Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson neck and neck in a tie in the MVP race. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I didn't mention my guy because my guy got hurt, and your best ability is availability, and he ain't been available. So.
And what's the more interesting thing is no one counted Lamar Jackson. Remember, he fell all the way out of the first round, and then they traded back into the first round. Yeah. He was the last pick.
Yeah.
They thought he actually was leaving, and then Ozzie Newsome, with his last pick for Ravens as a GM, picked Lamar Jackson, and it just proves that how much of a genius Ozzie was to see this kid future.
He's the GOAT.
I agree.
He's the GOAT.
Because he's seen a lot. He's seen a lot of players. Remember, Ray Lewis wasn't, just to go back, if y'all don't know, they didn't project Ray Lewis to be a top 2-round pick. He was supposed to be maybe third because of his size and his height. And, well, outside of the stabbing incident, Reg, we'll bring it up. But outside of that.
But back to Deshaun real quick. Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes going 10-11 in that draft. They may go down as the best 10-11 in the history of the National Football League. And Mitch Trubisky is probably going to be the last number 2 pocket passer besides Daniel. Well, never mind. Well, Daniel Jones is a little athletic. Yeah.
That's a different draft.
Mitchell Trubisky, man.
But
he was drafted number 2 overall with Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson coming off of a national championship.
And remember, Chicago traded up.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Remember, Chicago had the 8th pick, and they traded up for a second.
Mitchell Trubisky.
But I want to say this. You know what this reminds me of? It was an 83 draft.
Yeah,
not the same type
Chiefs.
Of water, remember.
All right, let's move on. Because Deshaun Watson is
I'm just saying.
Deshaun Watson is elite. Deshaun Watson is electric. I love Deshaun Watson. Like I said, when the Chiefs didn't pick him because I didn't put together who Patrick was at the moment, I was a little bit upset because I was all in on Deshaun Watson. He's playing to the level I thought he would now. The only thing I'm concerned about is still what I've been concerned about, and they're winning. So,
his durability.
No, not durability. I think he's good now. I do worry about him running so much with that ACL, but I think he's good now. I really think I want to see him in a big game on that last drive of the game. Not in the first quarter of the season, not in the first half of the season. Hell, not even in the third quarter of the season. I mean, fourth quarter of the season when you got to have this game. I want to see how accurate he is down the stretch because that is what separated him last year from being where he is this year. This year he just hadn't really been in the situation. So I love Deshaun. I want to see if he can do that. I think him and Mahomes will be 1-2 as quarterbacks in this league. Well, no. I keep forgetting about Russ. He's not that old. Russ, Deshaun, and Patrick will be 1, 2, 3 in this league for years to come. And Lamar Jackson will continue to be a dynamic top 4, top 5 player in this league for years to come if he can avoid injury.
if he can avoid injury, and I keep telling you, if he gets a coach that can school him in being well more balanced of a quarterback, he's going to be the more scarier out of all of them.
Well, he's
I'm
already the scariest athlete out of all of them because he can literally beat you without even throwing the ball like he did against the Patriots last week.
I'm going to say a complete player. I'm talking Mike Vick status.
The Texans' defense without J.J. Watt, they held the Jags to 3 points. Is Watt a major factor in the Texans' defense now, or is it just a luxury to having? I don't really know how that goes, but I'm just saying Whitney Merciless has been the best defensive player on this team for the last year and a half.
But you can't sleep. You can never sleep J.J. Watt because he's still demanding a double team every time he gets he's on the field.
No, not so much. No. I mean, he's got great ability still, but I'm saying, is he a major factor for the Texans? Like, do they have a significant drop-off when he's not on the field defensively? Because, again, he's not the best player on this team anymore. Not even the best player on the defense.
There's two huge factors with that. One is we got to see the total body of work without him, because the first time he went out and he was out for a while, the Texans struggled, and they didn't make the playoffs. The second time they played better, but that's because their offense played better, and the defense did give up a lot of points. It just happens the offense was balancing it out. And again, they still didn't make the playoffs. But this go-around, the way this squad is, this is a proven factor. Like I said, this may have been there had been one point where I was like, hey, you may want to start considering trading JJ to see what you can get to start building the future, because once you have a defensive player like somebody will trade for him because it's a name.
Yeah.
Just think about it. If somebody signed $10 million, we'll go back to your team. If someone sat there and paid $10 million for Justin Houston,
12,
and
I looked at it today. It was $12 million a year over 2 years. Hey, Justin's balling again. He's proving me wrong.
But don't you think he could a fresh start with JJ? He's probably one of the bigger names in the NFL. The quote unquote savior. We'll keep it at that. Somebody will go ahead and take that chance. Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Green Bay sat there and said, maybe not a number one. That would be ridiculously crazy, although it wouldn't be shocking.
Yeah,
but maybe a 2 or a 3 to get JJ. Then
Green Bay expects their number one to be 25 to 30. Or, I'm sorry, 25 to 32. So why the hell not a number one if you can get J.J. Watt?
Only reason I wouldn't is because their wide receiver situation is still scary. Because Devontae Adams, last year was his knees, this year is his feet. Wide receiver having leg and knee problems is scary. You may have to start thinking about that in the future. I'm just saying. As long as you got Aaron Rodgers back there, you're always going to need a receiver. And, Jordy Nelson and Cobb ain't there no more to go ahead and balance it out. So just hypothetically, you may want to think of that. But, again, if they want to go defense and go J.J. Watt, why not?
But I think what you're saying is J.J. Watt isn't a key cog in the Texans' defense if you're talking about life without J.J. Watt. And
he's not because again, they're now figuring out different ways to strategize around the whole entire defense. Again, here's the biggest factor. If you hold JJ for 5 seconds and your quarterback can get the ball off, JJ's irrelevant, because the only thing you really going ahead is hoping to make sure that DB does not stop your wide receiver. Remember, JJ before you was going against a bunch of guys, especially in the AFC South, that like to do wildcat, run the ball, QB sneaks, and JJ was eating off of them. Or you got Andrew Luck, who could swing the ball but likes to take hits, that's why he's at home now, because But again, I see there is a tunnel without JJ. It has to be there. JJ's been there in 9 years now.
Yeah,
it's the window's coming.
Yeah.
he plays so hard. So
yeah, I mean, I don't dislike J.J. Watt. I just don't know how key of a factor he is in that defense, and he's getting paid a lot to be on injured reserve every year. And at some point, you know, you got to call a spade a spade. 3 of the last 4 years, he's missed the end of the year. He's been out for the rest of the season. So you can't keep paying for a hospital bill, basically. One thing I want to ask you, because you were down on them weeks 1 through 7, you kind of went silent on it. Carlos Hyde, Duke Johnson, and the Texans running situation, they're like 6th in the league in rushing. That's helping their defense too. Are you over saying they need a running back?
No, I'm just saying they still need to be consistent.
I mean, they're 6th in the league.
Give me a little bit more. Yeah, they're. I love how you said they're 6th in the league.
Yeah, what do you need?
Not Carlos.
Wait, but why do you need?
Not Carlos. They're.
Why do you need them to be a team dependent on one guy in the league where Carlos Hyde's been hurt every year of his career? Duke Johnson's never been a feature back. Why not let it be like it is and let it run its course? Because the guys are complementing each other very, very well. The Texans have
they're running their 2-back offense pretty well, so I'll give you that.
And include the rushing yards with their quarterback. Between the three of them, they're 6th in the league in rushing as a team.
I'll give you that. So, but, again, I just want to be – I'm not going to hop on that bandwagon until I can see, one Hyde not get hurt. Right now he's playing well, but, you know, Hyde, I said it before, he's more Will Fuller-ish where at one point or another he gets hurt.
It's always about the injuries because he's got talent.
Right. And he's had a talent since coming out of Ohio State.
Yeah, he's got talent.
Duke is all – like I said, Duke is that –
he's a complimentary back.
Right, he's a scat back. To me, Duke is a bigger Sproles type.
He's not that fast. He's just got good hands.
No. But I'm saying he's more of a do-it-all back. You're not going to put him – you're not giving him the ball 25 times to rush, but you may give it to him 10 times and then pass it to him maybe 5 or 6 times. Hell, he may be just down there sometimes on blocking duty just for block for Deshaun.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. They're working it out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that I will compliment the offense for working it out.
And
because the Texans will never have a feature back.
And you don't need one. If you could be top 10 with Deshaun Watson as your quarterback and him being as accurate as he's been and as confident as he's been, you have balance in a way that absolutely says you should win a Super Bowl. Speaking of that, Bill O'Brien, all of a sudden off that hot seat and riding high saying, yeah, I should have been shopping for these groceries a long time ago.
So let me ask you this question. So if Bill, let's say, goes to the playoffs, loses first round, does he keep his job?
I mean, the way he's developed this quarterback, I think you have no choice but to retain him.
Has he really developed his quarterback, or he just finally let the reins loose?
Whatever you call it, Deshaun's balling, and if Deshaun is in the conversation of MVP at the end of this year, you can't I don't think that you can fire the coach in any circumstance that you've taken now a third year.
He's gonna keep his job to the position too.
Yeah,
he'll keep his job.
Yeah, I think he's good. If Deshaun keeps playing like this now, if they fall off the table, yeah, he's gone. But yeah, I think he's good. Yeah, I don't think it happens either because Deshaun is playing at an elite level. We talked about MVP again, and we haven't mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Right.
No, but we can't now because the goose egg he gave up against San Diego.
It's one game. All of them had a bad game. Patrick had a bad game this year. All of them had a bad game. Lamar's had bad games. Deshaun's had bad games. The only one of them that really hadn't had a terrible game or bad game, you would say, is Russ, but he had a bad game or two. So, no, you can't. No, they all have bad games, but I'm just saying, in the conversation, he really isn't there. He just isn't. The Texans division, they should win, right? They should win, but this is still all 4 teams are separated by just 2 games.
Here's the thing, they have Jacoby Brissett day by day. They have T.Y. Hilton out for the next 3 weeks. That in itself is a killer for the Colts, because if you're going to rely on Brian Hoyer, although he had a great game against the Steelers, throwing ridiculous passes that happen to go in, and I keep telling you about Eric Ebron.
Can I stop you real quick before you go deep in the quarterback of that team? I don't think it matters.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the way Brissett's been playing, he ain't exactly lighting it up. He's not really. He's a game manager, and that's what they need Hoyer to be. They're a running football team that lives off their defense.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. They're running the ball great. Marlon Mack.
Yeah. 2 years now.
Proving, he should be definitely considered.
He's in that conversation.
Yeah. He may not be the MVP conversation, but he's definitely
the top running back conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely Pro Bowl, if anything.
All Pro right
definitely.
now.
Maybe even All Pro.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Right
now.
The
ball, he don't drop the ball.
And he's available every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marlon Mack. Who saw that coming?
Well, I don't think anybody's seen it coming. I mean, if I would have known that, I would have picked him up for fantasy football. He's a free agent. That's another subject.
Marlon Mack. So this division has the Jaguars, Titans, Texans, and Colts. I think we can effectively say Nick Foles is gonna be the quarterback of the Jaguars when they come back from the bye. I don't know that makes them
I really don't like
better.
That. I really didn't like that move.
I don't know that makes them better, but I mean they paid him and they just can't let him sit on the bench without seeing what he can do for this team.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean
Tom Coughlin's not willing to do the Matt Flynn, Russell Wilson thing. He's going to be like, hey, I paid this guy. I'm going to make sure he plays. So they were waiting for the stash to struggle. All I did was take it. Plus, Tom Coughlin, again, is an old school type guy. The stash and all that stuff and all the hype about that, he don't like that. He just want a guy to come in, throw the ball, score, and go home.
Well, I really don't think it's about that. I mean, and I don't think we can blame him. You paid a guy, you thought he was going to be the guy. You got to see what he can do. I mean, it's not like you have a winning record. Why not? You have to see what he can do. This season is not over yet, especially if he plays like we thought he could play when we paid him. And this division is, like I said, everybody's within 2 games. We're 2 games out of first place. The Texans still got to play the Patriots, and they got division games left. So, yeah.
I do have one question, though. If you're going to pay $20 million to a quarterback, why not give him weapons? Because you paid all that money to Foles. DJ Chark came out of nowhere. No one's seen him coming. And now people will actually plan out for Chark coming soon. And that's still only one receiver.
And I think, honestly, you got to say that they was holding out because they thought that they didn't know Jalen Ramsey was going to go crazy on them and they was going to have to let him go. They had to save money for that, too. So they got a second-rate receiver. No disrespect at all because I am a big fan of Chris Conley, but that's kind of, I mean, their defense.
Oh, he drops a lot of balls. Jesus. I watched that game. He dropped a couple of them.
Their defensive first team. So that's where they were saving their money for. They just need Foles to manage the game.
Yeah, but I'm going to say this. As far as the division is concerned with them, I think it's the Texans to lose.
Yeah, it's the Texans to lose.
If they implode,
Yeah, it is the Texans to lose because they do play the Titans again. I mean, I'm sorry, the Colts again, and it's absolutely they are the best offensive team in that division. But I contend, especially if Justin Houston's old butt doesn't get hurt, because he's playing really good. He's really earning that contract right now. He's going to end up with 16 sacks if he keeps playing this way. And that came out after that Chiefs game. That really fired him up, and since then he's been balling. They're the best defense in that division. They're the best coached defense. They're the most disciplined defense. And, yeah, it's interesting. I love watching those two teams play. I really hope you say Hilton won't be playing in that game because that would be a huge disappointment.
That's what it is. He's out 3 to 6 weeks. So 3 weeks at the earliest with I think it's a toe injury, or it's either a toe or calf, something like that.
Oh man,
but
I know he's
he
crying.
may not be there.
Yeah, I know he's crying because he lives off the Texans. That's how he gets his contracts.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right, going to Arrowhead Stadium, my Kansas City Chiefs. Our offense. Let's talk about this week. The question of the week is, until we see him under center again, is will Patrick play? I wish they didn't play him, personally.
I mean, get his ankle up to par. This is because the thing is, the playoffs is a whole different monster. And the fact of the matter is if, like I said, if I'm a defensive player and I know the quarterback has a weak arm, leg, or whatever, what do you think I'm going to be pinpointing? So at least get it as healthy as it can be before you go ahead and subject for that hit.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really protecting your people.
Let me stop you. I think the ankle's healed. He's been out for 2 weeks. It's 3 weeks now. The ankle's healed. Our big concern, our only concern with him right now is the knee. Not even the knee. I mean the kneecap, I should say.
Right, yeah, that's it.
The ankle, 3 weeks is ample time. He's good. I'm just concerned about the knee and if he can play and not be in any danger of re-injuring himself. And he's 100%. I don't see the harm in not giving this game, the Titans, to Matt Moore. I don't see the harm in that.
I don't either, especially the fact that the Titans suck. I mean,
I wasn't saying that.
I'll say it for you. They suck.
I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying that it may not be necessary to play Patrick Mahomes against them this week. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm not saying what you said.
Cakewalk.
I didn't say that either. I'm saying it may not.
If you're a Titans fan, they suck. Sorry.
What I'm saying is from what I saw last week against a red hot, and the week before, quite honestly, against a red hot Vikings team, what Matt Moore did, he was very accurate downfield, very accurate. I would suggest last week he was more accurate downfield than Patrick Mahomes has been so far this season.
And that's with a good defense.
Yeah,
that's a solid defense in the Vikings.
So I'm not saying anything about the Titans. What I'm saying is,
they suck.
I think Matt Moore can win this game because he proved to be accurate downfield, and Tyreek let him ball. Now, especially if our running game with Damian Williams bursting on the scene again. I told you in the offseason I think he was the real deal. It's just an injury thing with him. And I'm over Shady McCoy and his fumbling. I'm sorry. These are going to be playoff games, and dude got to go.
Yeah, you got him saying he got to go. I'm like, damn, okay.
He got to go. Right. Dude, we've thrown one interception at the quarterback position. One. We are going in week 10. One interception has been thrown at the quarterback position. This dude has lost 2 fumbles in clutch situations. And he's not going to change the way he carries the ball. He's like in year 13. Nah, he got to go.
But we said this again, and he's not going to do that because that's one of his guys.
Yeah, but dude cost us a game, at least one. Look, I'm all about, and I know Andy's stupidly loyal sometimes, but I don't think he's so stupidly loyal that he's going to keep giving this dude the ball when Damian is ripping and running like this.
I agree with you with that. Plus, the thing is, this is the time I honestly think y'all need to be consistent. Like, establish who the alpha running back is. This one thing I'm gonna say with the Texans. They established that Hyde was the main back, was going to get the bulk of the carries, and Duke was going to be, whatever it is. Before, at the beginning of the season, they were just trying to figure out who for who. Y'all are on that right now, where it's like, is it Shady? or is it Damian? I honestly say this is Damian, and Shady just has to either do relief duty or special situations or special plays. But it has to be something more consistent. And maybe Shady is his time is over.
I think Andy wanted to go to Shady. I do. I really, truly believe that. And he did. And he had the opportunity to go to Shady when Damian was hurt. But Damian's healthy, and Damian's producing, and Damian ain't putting the ball on the ground. End of the day, turnovers win and lose games in this league. Your quarterback position has been incredibly efficient. You can't let a running back cost you games. I'm sorry, especially if you got one as or more capable than dude.
So here's the thing. I do agree with everything you're saying. I just don't get the fact of the matter. I think if once y'all don't get the fact, but the fact of the matter is if y'all show that consistency with one back, y'all still are probably one of the more dangerous teams in the league.
Yeah.
That we're not talking about, obviously, outside of, your household and KC land. But y'all are. And with Matt Moore, the way he's playing, he knows this. Look, this may be my last go around to get even a championship ring. So
much fun.
So I'm just gonna play fair, play cool, and do what I got to do to survive. I ain't gonna do nothing extra because if I do something extra, one, I ain't gonna be playing next year or this year, and two, may not win a ring with that way. Because the one thing is, like it or not, you guys don't want to lose games and have to go up to New England. Although they did lose to. They did lose to Baltimore recently.
I'm going to contest that point, but Matt Moore, he's really taking advantage of the weapons he's got. Like, he used the hell out of Sammy, and once he established Sammy short, he attacked downfield with the best deep threat in all of football. Dude played well. He established low. He got Sammy involved. He got Travis involved. He even threw a couple to the running backs, and then he went downfield with the cheetah. So, did you see that 91-yard run by Williams?
That's his nickname? The cheetah?
Tyreek.
You gotta give him a better nickname.
That's what he.
It is.
No, that's what he wants. No. That's what he wants to be called. That's his Twitter handle and everything. That's him.
Yeah, that's when you know.
But did you see that 91-yard run by Williams?
Yeah.
Did you see Tyreek run his ass down for fun?
Again, Tyreek is one of the fastest backs or wide receivers, or actually players in the league.
Yeah,
it is very nice to see.
But did you see him run him down for fun? It was for fun. It was no reason for him to do it other than it was fun.
That's
because he enjoys playing football. So the AFC West. Did we talk about the defense? Hold on.
Nah,
let's talk. I got to talk about the defense because I'm proud of the defense and what the defense did. First off, Chris Jones was back on the field last week.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Clark and with Okafor were both out.
Alex
Okafor. And the Chiefs defense played. The Chiefs played their best defense of the season without Clark and without Okafor and with Chris Jones on the outside. So this is what I think. Chris Jones needs to stay outside at the defensive end, and they work Frank Clark in when they can. They got to admit that this contract is wrong for this scheme and try to trade him or something and pay Chris Jones.
Well, here's the thing. If you pay, you know why it's going to be difficult now? Because if you pay Chris Jones, let's say they franchise Chris Jones, for example. If you franchise him as a DN, you're going to pay him more than if you franchise him as a D tackle.
If we can get rid of Frank Clark, that's fine. That's what I'm saying. We have to trade Frank Clark in his contract to do this, but
Perez, y'all just got him and signed him.
Yeah, but
he didn't do anything.
He doesn't
wrong.
fit our scheme. It's clear.
That's one of those ones that's like coaching. You're going to have to teach him that scheme to make it fit. But
listen,
you don't get rid of him when you just got him.
Listen, the Chiefs hadn't been able to stop the run all year, and they held one of the top rushers in football to 71 yards last week without Frank Clark and without Okafor, with Chris Jones on the outside and kind of moving around. Chris Jones is going to keep doing that. And that means I don't give a damn if Frank Clark is playing or if Okafor. Now, I like the way Okafor's played, but he's just been hurt all year. But we got to stop the run, and the way they did it last week was absolutely a B-plus game. So I don't know how you go backwards from that. I'm sorry, I don't.
It'll be interesting, but like I said before, y'all not gonna get rid of Clark. Not this year.
Why?
Maybe after next season.
You don't want to admit it's a mistake after 1 year. I do.
Your team is not going to admit if it's a mistake after 1 year. Me personally, if I can get a draft pick for it, I would. But then the thing is
that's what I'm telling you. If you can unload that contract right now and just pay Chris Jones, because I think you thought you were getting a player that if Chris Jones walked away, you'd be okay. That's not the case. So,
but I also want to say this: although Frank is not the factor that everybody thought he was, he helps. This goes to what I was telling you about Aaron Donald.
It didn't seem like it last week. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying last week the Chiefs defense played better than they played all year without him.
I think the game's going to still change. You still need him. You still need two rushers at most teams. You can get away with one or two games, but you need to have it for the long.
We'll see, because I don't know if he's going to play this week. Like I said, they played their best defensive game of the season without him, and if they can sustain it without him, like I said, I don't give him another year to not be tradable. If you can unload the contract now, I think you absolutely do it. That's just me.
That's a tough one.
The AFC West is the top three teams are within 2 games. The Chiefs, Raiders, and the Chargers.
The Raiders is in the conversation. That is very interesting, boy.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
I think I don't even know how to try to articulate this. If the Chiefs lose this division, Andy Reid should be fired.
I don't want to say he should get fired.
I do. The Chargers already have 5 losses. The Raiders already have 4. They're going to lose more. The Chiefs should only, if the Chiefs lose, they should only lose 2 more games this year. So, if they do anything less than that, and they don't win this division, I think Andy Reid should be fired.
Well, that means y'all imploded. And
exactly.
At this point, there's no way in hell y'all should implode.
I agree, because we're about to be as healthy as we've been since the first day of the season. But that's what I'm saying. We're talking about who's going to win this division, and I just think if the Chiefs don't win the division, Andy Reid should be fired.
Well, yeah, that's an obvious, but again, this goes back to the fact it's almost like, that had to be the nuclear bomb doomsday of all.
That's what I'm saying.
That happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I mean that's what our last thing to talk about with the Chiefs, and I don't think that it's at this point it's not a deep enough conversation for us to spend any more time on it.
Oh, I agree.
All right.
Not for y'all to be.
Yeah. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin says that Mike Tomlin is still on the hot seat. How in the hell is that possible? Winning games with a third and a second string quarterback, running back by whoever the hell under an ambulance at this point, and doing probably the best coaching job of anybody in football to be within an arm shot of the Baltimore Ravens right now. So help me understand.
I didn't say he was on the hot seat.
Help me understand why.
Said,
go ahead.
Is he on the hot seat? That's the question.
Yeah, help me understand why on Facebook I'm hearing and seeing and reading how his play calling sucks, even though they win. And I mean, it wasn't pretty. Who gives a damn? It's the National Football League. When you win, you take it. And dude is doing this with basically an infirmary team. Like, you could literally remember the movie The Replacements? That's what y'all basically have on offense right now.
I'm saying this. If we go 8-8, I still think, and people think I'm crazy, but then a lot of people think I'm right. Tomlin should be a candidate for Coach of the Year.
That's what I'm saying now. And he's a game under 500.
Right. We're 4-4 right now. We're in a division where the Browns should be way better. We lost games. Think about it. We lost games against New England, 7-1. The Seattle Seahawks, 6-2. San Fran, 8-0. The only exception is the Ravens, who the Ravens are 5-3. So our four losses are against teams that have a winning record, who, have balled out incredibly well, specifically New England and surprisingly San Fran.
And Baltimore.
And,
to a certain extent.
And Baltimore. And we only lost to Baltimore by a field goal.
Yeah.
And it was a bad, and that's when we had to bring in our third string quarterback who didn't even expect, he was not even thinking about playing. But again, that's what happened with Mason.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How the hell am I reading this stuff on Facebook that Tomlin sucks? I'm confused. What's going on? Like, what's wrong with the Pittsburgh native? Are they just racist?
That's the answer, baby. Thank you. It's a color thing.
Like, dude is legit right now a candidate for Coach of the Year. Legit. Like, seriously, you can't find a healthy running back in Pittsburgh right now. Like, nowhere.
Let's bring up the running back situation. Let's bring it up real quick. So we started our season with Connor. Connor's been hurt. Connor's been out. Samuels, he's been out. He just came back. Benny Snell, who is out currently.
Yes.
So now so most teams only have 3 running backs on the roster.
Right.
On their active roster. We've used all 3.
And we used all 3 quarterbacks, one of them which wasn't even on the roster. So, yeah, like, correct. Dude.
And then they're saying, well, not to mention, outside of Juju, we've gone through a plethora of receivers. We had to cut Moncrief to come on, and Lord knows why he got picked up by Carolina, but okay, whatever. But Dante Moncrief, who couldn't catch who couldn't catch anything for that matter. Several key losses to key plays that caused us that. But we're winning. We got Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I'm just like you like Patrick Mahomes, I'm always bringing up Minkah.
You are.
That dude balls out. Hey, I got you. He's balling.
We're not on your defense
and making us look. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying he's balling. But for people sitting there still saying Tomlin, well, Tomlin, he got 2 years. We started off. Let's just be realistic. We started off 2019 with the 3 Bs with Ben, Bell, and Brown. We lose Bell. Obviously, we knew we were going to lose Bell. We lose Brown because he self-imploded. And then we got Ben, who basically, again, was not in shape and was injured and really is now hurt. Honestly, I'd be surprised if he comes back. I hope he don't. I hope he just retires and becomes a QB coach or something like that, or a mentor. But, again, to start off with that, to go to Mason Rudolph, who, serviceable second-year quarterback, wasn't ready to really take over the reins. Connor, who I love Connor.
But why,
I love
hold
the
on.
story. Alumni.
Hold on. Why with Mason Rudolph? I don't know why we're making excuses for Mason Rudolph.
We're not. I'm not making excuses. At the beginning of the year, this was all Ben. Ben was ready to basically go for his MVP campaign.
But, bro, Ben didn't play in the preseason, so the most prepared quarterback y'all had should have been Mason Rudolph.
Fred, you ain't watched the Steelers football. Ben ain't really played in a preseason game in 6 years. So let's not do that.
So who should have been the most prepared and game-ready quarterback?
Yards, and the year before he had 5,000 yards.
I mean, but no, what I'm saying is who should have been the most prepared to start the season at quarterback for the Steelers? It should have been the quarterback that had the most snaps in the preseason, right?
Which the quarterback that had the most snaps in the preseason is actually the one that got traded. Josh Dobbs had more snaps than Josh Dobbs had more snaps than Mason.
Yeah.
Regardless of the matter, we're winning with nothing.
Yeah,
and
that's
it seems like we're stepping up to the plate every time. The only thing don't like right now with our Steelers offense is we're very predictable. Tomlin needs to go back to old school Tomlin and do trick plays or something like that. Maybe it's just because our offense is not, actually our offense probably isn't built for trick plays all like that.
No, right now you're running with the replacement players on offense.
Right, we haven't had a cohesive unit yet. But
forget about a unit. You're playing with a mash unit.
But I will say this, and no one talks about it. I will give this to the unsung hero of our offense. It's not Mason. It's not Juju. It's our offensive line. And no one gives credit to that line. Right now, Le'Veon Bell is sitting there saying, I wish I had that line.
I don't agree with that. We all knew y'all had a great offensive line. Lev
But
Bell.
no one talks about our line.
I mean, because you don't. But that's because your market is too small. I mean, I'm gonna talk about that as we're finishing. But yeah, Le'Veon Bell, Ben hadn't been able to get 5,000 yards because your offensive line is bad. Like, come on, you have one of the best offensive lines in football, and you've had one of the best offensive lines in football for the last several years.
At least 10.
Yeah, so
we have 1,000-yard rusher almost every year now.
Yeah.
It almost is like clockwork. I think last year was the first year, and James almost had it if he wouldn't have got hurt.
So I just think maybe that people are just tired. I mean, people get used to things and they quit talking about them. You've got a great offensive line. What's new?
People get comfortable, but like I said, we always got to go ahead and give credit where credit is due. I give credit to all those guys.
Credit. So your defense, you're comparing to the defense of when?
Not the steel curtain before we go there. That'll never be the same. What I'm comparing to, what I can say, and what I'm asking, I didn't say they are, but could they? So with the unit with T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, a young Devin Bush, Minka Fitzpatrick, could that be the thing? Could that turn eventually? Because we have a top 10 defense. We may not have a top 10 offense, but we damn sure have a top 10 defense. Could that turn into one day be the same type of unit that it was with names like Ryan Clark, James Harrison, James Ferrier, and the great Troy Polamalu? Not calling them that. Not calling Minka the next Troy. But could they play to that level? Because if they could play with that level consistently, because we got a young squad. Minka, second year. Devin Bush, first year. T.J. Watt, third year. Hayward's is the unsung veteran on there. He's been there for 8-9 years now. I think he came in the same draft as J.J. Watt, so it's about 9 years. So with that being said, we have a young unit that is showing a lot of grit and grind, and over time, could that pan out to be? I'm actually looking forward. I actually look forward to watching the defense. Yes, I'm old, so before you go there, I like defensive games. I don't mind that 14-7 game. It doesn't have to be 56-59 or something crazy like that all the damn time. But I like how our defense is playing. We're blitzing. We're running coverage package. The only thing sometimes I worry about is sometimes Tomlin likes to take that risk of going man on man when you got a 5'9" Mike Hilton versus a 6'5", whoever the hell the wide receiver is, which is definitely not a good idea. But even we'll blitz our safeties and our corners sometimes. I like that. I like that style. That's how we were going to the Super Bowl. That's how we won a Super Bowl. That's how we lost one too. If Tomlin would have stopped trying to blitz Troy and have Ike Taylor, Jordy Nelson, a rookie, have 200 yards against us. What's another subject?
So what I'm hearing you basically say is on offense, Tomlin is predictable, but he's using what he has to be as successful as anyone could have expected. On defense,
correct,
he's basically been brilliant, but there's a reason that some people are calling for his head. Listen,
can we say this real quick?
Go ahead.
They've been calling for Tomlin's head for. I'm gonna keep it real. They've been calling for Tomlin's head since we lost the Super Bowl against Green Bay, and that was 2011, 2010. They've been calling for his head every year we're in the playoffs. The worst seasons he's had is 8-8. We're constantly in the playoffs. Yes,
This
we
dude is a
have the
good
monster
football coach.
Right.
And I hope they fire him because
today,
Washington is salivating on the sideline like, I dare you to fire this guy.
Right, and that's the problem. If he gets fired, I will give you a team that I would actually, and I will put my neck out on. If Tomlin would get fired today, I don't see him going to Washington because that's a shit show.
You're
going to
say
Snyder.
Cleveland, aren't you?
No, I wouldn't say Cleveland either. Tomlin's too loyal to the Steelers to go ahead and play against them.
Not if they fire him, he's going to want to play against them.
Yeah, but you know where I see him going? This will be the first time that Jerry Jones would take a risk.
Hell
and
no.
I could see him. See him in Dallas.
Hell no.
I don't see him in Dallas.
I don't see that having a snowball's chance in hell.
I can see that. Or I'm going to go out there and say, because Tomlin's a defensive guy, and so he's going to look for teams that have strong defenses with defensive players. If good old Steamboat Ron gets fired down there in Carolina, why not?
I don't think he's going to get fired because he's doing a hell of a coaching job too.
Right, and he's another one. They've been on his head before he went to the Super Bowl, and I think that's another thing. He's a Hispanic coach that is winning, but they always are gunning for his head. You know what I mean? It's a sad thing to say, but and I'll rant about that next week. But the minorities is always gunning for. They're always gunning for their heads, like it or not.
I can guarantee you there are teams watching this situation and social media, and these fans say the dumbest crap I've ever heard, like fire Tomlin, and like daring the Steelers to fire Tomlin, like completely daring him. This guy is doing probably the best coaching job in all of football right now. Like I said, outside of Carolina, because these two teams, depleted by injury, lost their starting quarterback. Hell, Tomlin lost his backup quarterback to his starter.
Exactly.
And all his running backs for some time. And 4-4. And have a shot at winning this division.
I agree. See? But, again, Pittsburgh fans are two things. We're emotional. I'm going to say they're emotional, and the city is partially racist. There's no other way of calling it. You know what I mean? They've been gun. They never liked Tomlin in the first place when Bill Cowher retired. They was after him. Well, he's not that. Well, he's won. That's the key factor. Like it or not, the guy's won football games. And if you don't like it, then go root for another damn team. Don't root for the Steelers.
Dude's winning. Dude's competing in every single game. I mean, he has a stinker every year, and it's normally against the Patriots.
Right. That's the only Achilles heel. That I'll give him. Yeah, it's always the Patriots that give us the
stinker.
Then again,
the stinker.
What team does the Patriots not give issues to? I'm just saying.
I don't mean issues. I mean, they give everybody issues, but they blow y'all up every time. It's a stinker.
It's chess versus checkers against us. So that I'll give you. It's chess versus checkers. One day we got to figure that out. But that's the only thing we're on.
You'll figure it out when Belichick and Brady retire, because they own Mike Tomlin, and I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that the ownership can fire Mike Tomlin.
No, they can't.
And we talked about it briefly. You're a couple games out of being in first place. You're at 500. You're basically the only team in the North with any chance of really giving the Ravens a run down the stretch. Right. This, again, I think is the Ravens' division to lose. But the Steelers and Mike Tomlin kind of know how to play against Lamar Jackson. So, do the Steelers have a shot at this division?
We have an outside shot of being consistent. So our next couple of games, we got the Rams. That'll be a hard one. We got and then after the Rams, we got Cleveland twice and Cincy between them. And then after that, Buffalo.
That's 3 wins. Jets. So you already got 7.
So
never mind. We'll get there later. That's 7.
Mm-hmm.
So you really.
And then we end off the season with Baltimore again in the final game of the season. It'll be us and Baltimore. So again, we got a great chance to actually have a winning record because the bulk of our hard games are over.
Yeah. So this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a fun division. But I do believe it's the Ravens to lose.
As of right now, yeah, I agree with you with that one. But we can play
Come on with the
spoiler, and
caveat.
that's what I'm looking forward to.
Come on with the caveat as of right now. You know it's there just to lose. This is just like the Chiefs to lose, the Texans to lose. Everybody that we really talk about, it's their division to lose right now, except for the Steelers.
But y'all in the driver's seat. We're not.
So are the Ravens.
We want to play. Exactly, and we want to play spoiler to the Ravens. Let's just go ahead and hurt their feelings.
Yeah, I think Mike Tomlin, he won a lot of my respect because we talked about this when Ben went down. This is gonna be either his farewell, his swan song, or his best coaching job. And right now, it's been not just his best coaching job. I think it's the best coaching job anybody's done in the league so far this year.
Yes, sir. I agree with you with that one.
All righty, folks. Those are our topics for today. I have been trying all day to figure out what I want to talk about on this rant. I kind of wanted to talk about Kurt Warner, one of these biased media hacks, and the reason that underDawgSportz podcast exists and all that. But me and Justin kind of talked about the power rankings earlier this week, and I'm a little over the reactionary power rankings because a power ranking should be a true assessment as to who the best teams are in the National Football League week to week. Yes, there are games that people outperform, but consistency should be a part of the power rankings. And people get up and down about these rankings and talk about how low a team is this week or how high a team is that week. Let me tell you something. I don't want to play the Chiefs any week. I don't care what they're going through. I don't want to play a great defense any week. So I don't want to play the Patriots any week. Okay? So let's stop with the reactionary power rankings. Let's stop with the reactionary calling up MVP. One game does not make an MVP. One game does not make you a top 10 team. The Buffalo Bills should not be in the top 10 in the power rankings. I went through the Buffalo Bills schedule today. They have 2 losses. One is to the Patriots, and the other, I think, is to the Eagles. That's the only 2 teams they've played within a winning record. They're 6-2. Congratulations. But you haven't played anybody, so how the hell are the Buffalo Bills the 6th best team on these power rankings that came out this week? I'm sorry if there's anybody from Buffalo listening, but that team doesn't put fear in anyone's heart outside of Miami. Not even Cleveland is afraid of the Buffalo Bills. So let's stop with this shoot. I think the Bengals aren't afraid of the Buffalo Bills. But these are teams that they have beat. I'm over these power rankings and these reactionary just because you have a good game. We're now in this discussion. I'm tired of it. Let's do power rankings by exactly what power rankings should be. Who's the best team in football 1 to 10, 1 to 32, every single week? Let's stop putting teams that suck in the top 10. That's my rant for this week. I'm KCReginaldJr.
It's your man J-Dub in the building.
This has been underDawgSportz. We will catch you next Wednesday.
Peace.
When you're sick, every minute counts. So don't go anywhere. Go to dispatchhealth.com where high-quality medical care comes directly to you. No getting out of a sick bed. No crazy driving to an emergency room. No endless paperwork. No hospital waiting rooms. Visit DispatchHealth.com to learn about our medical professionals, then make house calls. Dispatch Health is covered by Medicare and most major insurance. Go to DispatchHealth.com.
I've got to tell you about this cool show I discovered called Small Business Revolution Main Street. It's a business makeover show with tons of awesome advice. What I love about it is they do it all with heart, not the hyped-up drama of those other shows we've all seen. Ty Pennington, the renovation guy, he's on it, and Amanda Brinkman, this marketing guru from Deluxe. Definitely check it out. You can watch it on Hulu, Prime, or smallbusinessrevolution.org.